Yes, people, what is going on? And welcome back to the YouTube video. To the YouTube channel. Wow. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas, a little bit of downtime, ate all this shit, but you are ready to get back at it and smash 2024 out of the park. I certainly know that. I am really looking forward to the new year, in my groove at the moment in terms of training and how my physique is progressing. So I am buzzing to keep this momentum going. So plan of action for today's video is we have got legs on the cards today, hamstring focus leg day. This is also my SLDL day, so I'm absolutely buzzing for this. The last time I done this session with Kuba and Mark, and I done my SLDL before I did my hamstring curl, right? And normally the way Kuba has my sessions programmed, I do my hamstring curl, like my isolation, before I do my hip hinge. This is the first time in like, I don't know how long that I haven't actually done that. And my performance was like way better. So the previous time I'd done that session, I got 160 for 8 reps, like 160 kilos. And then that time I got 200 kilos for 7 reps. So 1 rep down, but 40 kilos up. And on a hip hinge, that is pretty substantial. So today, if I go in and I'm feeling good and the warm-ups are moving well, I think I'm going to go with 5 plates aside, so 220 kilos, and try and aim to get 5 reps. So that is my goal, that is my plan of action for today. Even if I don't feel good, I think I'm still going to fucking go for the 220 anyway, and just try and like touch that new weight. Because looking back at the 200 that I did from the previous session, it moved like so well, like it moved like super fucking smooth. I might actually layer the video over this now as I'm talking with it. So Kuba made a couple of adjustments to how I was actually getting into the movement, how I was bracing, etc. And I feel like that made a big difference. And honestly, you know, when I was watching this set back, and even during the set itself, like it felt easy, it looked easy. So I know an extra 10 kilo aside, I'm gonna be able to manage. So that's the plan of action for today. We've also got the Arsenal leg press banded, which is brutal on this leg session. So we'll show you all that in today's video, right? But anyway, before I move on, I thought I would give like a little bit of an off-season update, as I haven't actually really spoken about how my off-season has been going so far on this channel, right? So I think currently we're about 10 weeks in. Is this week 10 of the off-season? Leave me just double check here, because I believe it is. Yes, so we have just wrapped up week number 10 of the off season. We started at 99.4 kilos on average. We're now 107.6 kilos on average. Okay, so pretty decent increase in weight there. We're 8.1 kilos up, or 8.2 kilos up on average in a space of 10 weeks, right? So pretty much after gaining 2 pounds a week. Now, is that too much? Probably, it likely is a little bit too much, but I feel like I am fucking growing right now like I have never grown before, okay? And like visually, I still look like lean, like respectably lean, and I'm actually only 2 kilos off my all-time like heaviest average weight, and I look completely fucking different than I did before. And with like how the visuals have been changing over the last couple of weeks relative to the increases in body weight and also the increases in performance in the gym, you know, I think I'm building a lot of tissue. And I think when I do get back up to that like peak off-season weight from, you know, before I started prep, it's going to be a very different physique. And even with how I like feel right now, I feel like I'm going to be able to push like way up beyond that like peak off-season weight, just this first push-up, and still be in a really good position, right? So that's super exciting, because I feel like I'm already at my best physique ever. I feel like I'm already the biggest I've ever been, because the weight isn't everything. So I know when I get back up to like 110, I only hit 110 kilos once in my life. It was 110.1, and I was just a little fluctuation up in the scale. I know when I get up to 110 kilos and I hold that weight, it's going to be a lot tighter than it was the previous time I was there. I'm going to feel a lot better. I'm going to be performing a lot better. And I'm still going to have a lot of runway to push forward from there. So super fucking exciting stuff, guys. In terms of what we're doing currently at the moment, like food-wise, you would have seen that in the last video. Cycle-wise, I haven't spoken about that yet, so I will just touch off that a little bit here. So my current cycle, right, obviously this is my 4th year now taking antibiotics. So these are my dosages for me right now, with where I want to get to, etc, etc. I've spoke about that in a recent video, right? You can go back and fucking watch that. I'm not going to do this chat every single time I update people on my cycle. But current cycle is 600 milligrams of test. We've got 800 milligrams of Primo, and we've got 600 milligrams of Mastrone, okay? So before people ask me, why is there a mix between Mast and Primo? A couple of reasons, right? cost is one of the biggest ones, because Primo is fucking expenny. And I think Kuba just likes to have a little bit of a mixture of the two of them in there, because they both have like slightly different properties, right? He was going to keep my mass lower and brought my Primo up, and I'm just not willing to run over a gram of Primo for like 6 months again this time around, because like I said, it's just too fucking pricey. And I feel like once you have a certain good chunk of Primo in there, just add a good fucking chunk of mast in there, and it's all pretty much kind of doing the same fucking thing, isn't it? So that is the current cycle. Also have 5 IUs of GH in there. I also have 20 IUs of Lantus in at the moment as well. 5 IUs of Nova pre and post workout. What else do I have? So Temnosartan, 80 micrograms in the morning. Metformin, 500 milligrams in the evening. And T4 and T3 are still in. I imagine they'll probably be pulled fairly soon, because my food is fairly high. Obviously the insulin is in. The appetite is like not where it was anymore. It's not that I'm like struggling now, but I'm starting to feel like, oh yeah, I don't have like, I'm not sitting down to eat and be like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this meal, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like that T3 will probably be pulled fairly soon. And I feel like for me historically in the past, when I'm not taking that, even though it is a replacement dose, body weight just tends to kind of creep up. But we'll try and make sure it doesn't get too sloppy. Anyway, guys, I've been rambling on for long enough, so I'm going to leave this clip here where it is, and then we will catch up with you when we're in the gym. Also, before I go, we just got our Nespresso order here. Absolutely love a good Nespresso order. I'm a cunt for a couple of Nespresso pods. If anyone doesn't have an Espresso Vertuo machine, guys, get the fuck on it, right? What do we have here? Can't even remember what I got. Double espresso, 3 sleeves of Stormio Boosts, essential, 3 sleeves of decafs, 2 Malazio, 2 Intenso, 1 frosted caramel nut, and then what's the free sleeve they gave me? Peru Organic. So probably just another form of espresso or something like that. All right, how we doing? So last minute text from Cuba. I've been called up to train legs today, which is good. Same session we did the last time. So hopefully I'll get some nice PBs today. I'll be able to get the lads to push me through a little bit further. So first exercise up here, we have got an adductor. It's good to just reverse training as well, because we get a decent bit of break between our actual working sets. So yeah, training nice and early as well, which suits me fine. I trained about an hour and a half earlier than the last day, so strength should be better again. Yes, guys, what is happening? So we are hitting you with the voiceover today for legs. I had originally intended to kind of speak about what I was doing in between my sets, etc. But training with the two guys today, I just didn't want to be that distracted. We were fairly locked in the zone, high intensity when we were doing this session. So just thought I would do a little bit of a voiceover, and I kind of have to do a bit of a voiceover anyway, because the music in this gym is always ridiculously loud, as you probably would have heard from the last clip. So anyway, guys, first exercise up here, we've got the adductor. Strength is actually increasing nicely on these as of recent, as this is an exercise in the past where I kind of generally struggled to progress, but seems to be climbing up nicely here at the moment. And you know, I'm keeping form and execution on point, as if you just throw the weight around in this exercise, you're really not going to get much from it. So as you can see here, pausing the stretch here, dragging that way in, not letting the stoppers touch each other at the top, which is super important, right? We don't want any kind of bounce or kind of counter momentum. We just want to drag that way in, squeeze really hard, make our adductors work for it, and then off the back of that, you know, just be nice and controlled, right? So adductors wrapped up as a little bit of a warm-up. Then up next we have got our SLDL. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, now we're doing the SLDL before we're doing our isolations, which definitely makes a big difference. So doing a couple of warm-ups here, and I left the warm-ups in this video just so I could kind of talk you through what I was doing. As you can see here, right, when I'm kind of getting over the bar, right, I'm kind of pushing my hips back and bending down as much as I possibly can, and then I'll grab the bar and I'll kind of just move the bar forwards and back. I'll kind of sit into my hips, I'll drop my shoulders down, and I'll kind of pull myself into the bar. So you're going to see me doing that now in the next little clip here again, right? So I'm kind of rolling that bar forward and back. I'm pulling the slack out of the bar and pulling it into me before I kind of initiate these reps, right? I'm keeping those shoulders down and locked, nice and slow and controlled on the way down. I'm coming up and I'm driving through my hips, but I'm not like leaning backwards with my back, okay? That's a very big mistake mistake you're going to see a lot of people make when they actually do this, right? So last warm up here, 180 kilos. I actually did 2 reps on this. As the first rep felt a little bit rocky, but I just thought I would get a good feel for it before I went for 5 plates. So I'm going to stop the voiceover here and let you actually watch the 5 plate set. So we have achieved 5 plates aside for 5 reps on the SLDL. Now, watching that set back, I do think I probably needed to bend my knees a little bit more and kind of sit back into my hips a little bit more, as I did feel it in the lower back a touch more than I did the previous week. Now, we also didn't use the blocks this week, so that will be taken into consideration. But I was super happy with the strength on that set, considering that 10 days ago, I'd never even touched 200, let alone 220, and now I can kind of do it for 5 reps. So I think I'm going to sit with the 220 for a while, really solidify it, tidy up the form, make those eccentrics a little bit more controlled, as I did kind of, slap them down a little bit. So I will place a massive focus on that now moving forward, just to make sure that they are on point, right? Because the 200 from last week was super tidy. I was actually impressed myself at how tidy it was. But in my eyes, that 220 was, a little bit sloppy. And even after the first 3 reps, I had to reset and kind of rock myself back into it to pull up those last 2 reps. Whereas ideally, I'd like to be doing a good 6 or 7 reps, just pretty much continuous, where I'm coming down, I'm touching the floor, kissing that weight, and then pulling it back up again. So we move to the next exercise, or should I say the next 2 exercises here. So we actually did 3 sets of a lying hamstring curl on the prime here, and then after that we did 1 leg of a single leg lying leg curl on the prime as well. I actually really like that setup. I find a single leg curl to be even better and even more challenging for the hamstrings, as it kind of forces you to keep your hips locked down even more. A lot of hamstring volume on, I suppose, both leg days, but primarily this leg day, as it is the hamstring focus leg day, as me, Kuba and Mark all have the same kind of weak areas roughly that we want to kind of bring up, and hamstrings is definitely one of them. So a lot of volume there in the hamstrings, but I think the hamstrings do respond quite well to kind of higher volume and higher rep sets. I generally like to keep my isolation exercises much higher rep ranges on the hamstring curl, and a little bit of a lengthened partial rep range there as well, or rep, sorry. Next up, we've got the seated leg extension. So pin loaded one here, not the plate loaded one. I kind of like the pin loaded one at this stage in the session, because I like doing the plate loaded one very last. This one just feels a little bit kind of smoother, and it feels like a better warm up for the leg press that we're going to be going into next. So key here, guys, as you can see, is holding that contraction, that hard contraction at the top, coming down nice, slow and controlled, little bit of a pause, dragging that way up. But when I get to the top, it doesn't matter if it's my first rep, it doesn't matter if it's my final rep, it doesn't matter how much I feel like my legs and my quads are literally blowing up, I always keep that hard pause at the top. So you'll see towards the end of the set here, I'm really in pain, I'm really struggling, but this is where you really need to stay locked in, guys, and you need to make sure that you're fully fucking focusing and keeping that form and keeping that tempo, as that is going to be absolutely key here, right? So this was pretty much a warm-up exercise before we went into our big kind of quad work next, which is going to be the Arsenal leg press. Similar setup to the lying hamstring curl here. We did 1 set or 2 sets bilateral, 1 set unilateral.
5 reps, let's go. John, now.
So you would have heard Kuba shouting at me there before I unracked this, saying 9 reps, let's go. The previous week, I actually got this for 7. I believe today I got a good clean 11 reps. I think I got 7 reps and a +1 last time I did this. Today I got pretty much 11 reps on my own. So, I'm taking that as 3 probably like 4 reps of an actual progression on this, which is pretty fucking good, to be honest. Now, obviously this is a new exercise, and initially you're gonna get quite a good novel like response from that, and a good increase in strength for the first couple of weeks, and then it kind of, you know, tapers off a little bit. But this is honestly fucking brutal, guys. Like, you can see that green band there, that is double banded, and the tension kicks in pretty much immediately after the hole. It just lets off a touch, and the second I come up out of that hole, that band tension kicks in, and it gets heavier and heavier as I get to the top. So this was an absolute killer set. And you know, the second set as well, I think I got two reps up from the previous week, and again, it just absolutely wiped me out completely. So I have to do the voiceover here, guys, so I don't get fucking copyrighted again, but I will just leave the last rep or two in here so you can kind of hear the struggle in my voice.
Up we go. Yeah. One more. Oh! Rep. Take it forward. Grace hard. Hold it. Don't shoot the bed. Come on. Hold it. Aggressive. Right. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. One more. That was one more as well.
Oh. Last big exercise of the day, we've got the single leg press on the Arsenal leg press as well. So we just removed the bands here and obviously stripped back on the weight quite heavily. Now with this exercise, we're kind of looking to get even more depth again. You can kind of sit with one arse off the edge of the seat and have your other glute in the middle of the seat here, kind of lean into that kind of right hand side as you're working your right leg, and you can get a lot more depth here, and it kind of feels a lot safer to get that depth, but then a lot more uncomfortable at the same time. And I think this is a great all-round leg exercise, because whilst I really feel this in my quads, I really feel it in like my glutes and my adductors as well. So we chose to do this instead of the Smith machine kind of, you know, Bulgarian split squats that we did the previous session, because this just kind of fits our needs a little bit better. Okay, so you know, it's gonna not really be for stabilization, it's going to be more so for building muscle. Obviously everything builds muscle, but you know what I mean. This set was a massive fucking struggle as well, I'm not gonna lie. On my other leg as well, I actually got 5 reps only, so I got 10 reps here, but I got 5 reps on my left leg, which was super fucking frustrating. Now whilst I was doing my left leg, my right glute was actually cramping up, so that could have been a reason for it, but I think I'll start with the left leg next week. Wrapping up this leg day with some toe press here, so gotta get those calves in. Calves are actually a body part that I'm actually really trying to bring up, so I make sure I bring the same intensity to my calf sets as I do to absolutely everything else, right? And you can see here, this is actually the end of the set that I'm showing you. I'm like pushing the whole way up here, right? I want to get absolute full extension and kind of hold there at the top. I come down and I get a really, really good stretch, and basically the goal here is to feel like my calves have filled up with battery acid. Oh yes, how are we, guys? Now hopefully my camera battery does not go dead before I finish recording this. This little fucking tree is in my way. Oh well. Alright guys, how are we? So, legs wrapped up, immense session. The camera on my battery, oh my god, as you can tell, leg pump to the fucking brain. So the battery on my camera is dead, so I'm just recording off of my iPhone here now to update you on how the session went. But immense session, as you can see, PBs across the board there. I did get the 220 kilo 5 plate aside SLDL for 5 reps. Now, watching that clip back, I think I probably need to push my hips back and probably bend my knees a little bit more, just getting into position there. But I'm kind of blaming it on the fact that this week we didn't use the little blocks. The previous week we actually did this session, we did use little blocks, which probably add like maybe an inch and a half, which does make a big difference on that SLDL. So, you know, that is probably why it felt a little bit more lower back and a little bit less hamstring relative to the 200 kilo I did the last time. But still good to kind of touch new weight, so I'll likely probably stick with that 220 kilo now, but just make sure the next time I do it, I get into position better. I don't kind of like drop the weight as heavily as I did as last kind of, not even the last rep or two, but the whole set I kind of just dropped the weight a little bit. It was a little bit heavy on the eccentric, but look, all learnings to take with us to the following session and just kind of make sure we nail it down, right? Got some massive PBs on the fucking Arsenal leg press as well. I absolutely love that. It is brutal, guys. Honestly, banding that to make it heavier in the shortened range when it's already pretty heavy in there, it's just absolutely brutal. And then we did the single leg press on that too. Oh mate, that was really tough. That was really tough. So legs are absolutely toasted now. I'm currently in the car in Steroid Valley, just waiting on Mark to get here, as to kickstart the recovery process we are going in to get an owl 5 guys, right? So standard post leg protocol here of the off season is getting a 5 guys in. So I've only had 4 meals today, so I think I'm going to go for 2 burgers and like a little fries today, but we'll see how I'm feeling when I get in. It's only been like an hour since I had my last meal, but look, we'll be grand. But anyway, guys, that is the update. Once I actually edit this video and piece it together, if there's any other, you know, little bits I want to add to this, then I certainly will. But a little bit of a raw kind of video for you today. You know, I just wanted to leave that training footage in there as it was. I couldn't really talk during the workout and during my sets because, you know, obviously Cooper and Mark was there and we were just kind of locked in and in the zone. So a little bit of a different style of kind of like training video or training vlog for you today. But hopefully you will have liked it and enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. There will be plenty more content like that coming up for the remainder of the off season. So yeah, guys, that's it. Hopefully Mark gets here soon because I am bursting for a piss, even though I could just go in and go to the toilet, but then I'll have to go in, come back out, and then come back in to get a burger, which is a little bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, anyway, we'll catch up with you in a little bit.